welcome today to Operationally Speaking. I have with me Phil Heflin, who is the National Sales Director for Custom Surgical. He has been a long-standing salesperson in the ophthalmology industry and is very knowledgeable. Phil, welcome to the podcast today. Happy to have
Thank you,
you here.
Tina. Thanks for having me. And been a pleasure working with you over the past year. And
Absolutely.
got a lot of exciting things happening.
Yes, today we want to talk about Vizy Suites. This has been our baby over the last year that we've been developing, so we're very exciting to launch this. Vizy Suites is where innovation meets experience. Our company has been developing office-based surgery suites for over the last 2 decades. And, over the years and with all of our ASC experience, we were able to work on this model to pull it all together. And the main goal is to take any pressure off of the practice team and surgeon for getting this thing going. And so over this last year, what we've really strived to do was pull together all of these pieces that need to come into play before we can develop or have the surgeon sit down to do their first cases. And so we're really excited about it. We've really tried to pull together our hundreds of years of experience collectively as a team, and we developed this model. Phil, do you want to talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's been a year in the making to get to this point. We're really excited about 2016 and beyond with what we put together in the Vizy Suite model. This a customized model based on what we've been doing for the last 20 plus years. It's based off your experience in the ASC market as well, and then our experience dating back to 2003 when we first started talking about um, in-office surgery suites as it related to the ICL. Back when we were just trying to model a surgical space that could be utilized within the office-based platform.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of years experience, lots of things that we were able to draw off from, in terms of challenges that we've seen practices have over the years with pulling this off and doing it very effectively. Our philosophy with building these out has really morphed over the last, 2 decades. When we first started out, we were developing suites, off of LASIK rooms and that kind of thing. We still keep it very easy, but we really are forward thinking. I mean, we agree that, Medicare is going to cut loose on a subset of these cataract patients to have their procedures done in a surgical suite. And we really want to and do look at these models with that in mind. I mean, we have our experts who understand full well patient safety, quality, infection control, risk management. And so, what we really have pulled together in this package is a way to make it more seamless when Medicare does say, okay, states, you can do this particular subset of this cataract population in your office. It won't come without regulations. And so, we really have prided ourselves in doing this in such a way that it's easy, but that it's also rigorous, that it meets all of the appropriate standards that we're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest change that I've observed over, this past year working with you. And that in the beginning we just went into a space, we tried to adapt what they had with regards to the surgical room, clean and dirty area. It wasn't as specific. We followed regulatory guidelines, but we stuck with AAA at the time. But now we have much more of a custom design. Like to your point, it's with the future in mind because we want to make these, able to morph into the future, so to speak, under guidelines of accreditation and the surgical workflow. So, you have to think 5 years in advance or 5 years ahead when we're putting these together. which has been, the revelation that I've had over the last year.
Yeah, yeah. And we dive into this, well, as you know, right in the beginning. So with feasibility, we'll look at your complete payer mix, your volume of cases. Well, of course, we'll look at the floor plan and design and have that clinical workflow piece into consideration. But we also really look at the complete package. What space do we have? How can we do this so that we're maximizing your square footage? I mean, we keep in mind that, every square foot has a cost to it. So we really try to make the space very functional, but at the same time, uh, forward thinking. And so I think we have that down to a science now.
Yeah, I mean, we had to get to that point where we were, feasibility was a main issue, right? Everyone wants to know, what is this going to cost? So we had to, get that under control with regards to minimal cost, minimal outlay in the beginning. When you're building out an ASC, you can be talking about a couple $1 million or more. In this aspect, it's a lot less. It's about a quarter to half less than an typical ASC build out in total. And so we wanted to maximize that even further and get that well under $500,000 or more. Because, in meeting with some of the banks and loan officials, they told me that if we can get under that mark, 500,000, that's an easy loan for them to make. So
Right.
that was a revelation as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then really diving in and looking at the return on investment. We have a ton of different solutions depending on where the surgeon, what stage they are in their career, whether, they're very capital strapped or if they have capital but only a certain amount. So we're able to customize our services, wholly so that, if they want something that, looks more premier, that kind of thing, we certainly have the wherewithal and know how to do that. They want it to be as frugal as possible. We're able to deliver that for them, having all of, even down to the finishes, what's going to be, certainly safe, and doable, so we run that whole gamut. And, doing that feasibility study in the beginning will really lay it out for the surgeon as to, what is this going to look like? How is it going to benefit their practice? Aside from allowing them to keep control of their schedule, keep control of their patient care, and those sorts of things. It really is a full, well-rounded, complete package that we offer. So I'm very excited about that. Um,
And
and-
it's also, I want to point out that, case volume is important and the type of cases that you're looking to perform in that suite. We prefer to look at a premium model where you're doing, the majority of your cases are premium patients with premium outcomes in mind. That could be utilizing femto, a multifocal lens, toric lenses, and different modalities of refractive surgery that will enhance the outcomes. And look at that in a 3 to 5 year window where you're going to be growing that business within your practice. So you can't just think of today, you need to think of tomorrow and how you're going to grow into that suite.
right,
Because there's no doubt that in-office surgery suites are the future. With the cutbacks in hospitals and ASCs in time and space, you're going to have the flexibility to get into this market. And it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
right. Right. And I do want to add on to that, you know, there we have to dive into the weeds for that. So if you're a new surgeon starting out and maybe you don't have that premium patient population, we still can look at that payer mix, look at
Oh, yeah.
your volume, and even look at the space. The space may not require much, in addition to what you may already have. So it is truly that there are no two office-based suites alike. So we've worked through many different, scenarios with surgeons and things like that. So as in our name, custom. We will customize it to what your needs are. And so, again, very excited about that and that model. I did want to mention, we've been in the ambulatory surgery industry for 23 years. And I hear sometimes, it out there that, oh, they do ASCs, they don't know OBSs, but I just really wanted to touch on that. I think really it enhances what we bring to the table for your office-based space. I mean, when we started doing these 23 years ago, we learned very quickly that the practice manager's already wearing three different hats. And the last thing that he or she wanted to do was wear another hat to run a mini surgery center. So we've honed our system over, the last 2 decades so that it really is more easy to manage. And even more recently, we've decided to go ahead and offer management and compliance packages for these suites so that way your team's busy, they want to stay focused on your practice. We have all of the surgical experience. We can handle that for you. Our team is comprised of many inspection surveyors, myself included. So we know what to look for, we know what we need to implement, and we know how to run it efficiently because it's not just us as consultants saying so. We've all ran centers, we've all ran suites, we've all been in the trenches, so we know exactly, what the practice will go through from inventory to staffing to, training and keeping up with things. So we have a lot of tips and tricks that we're able to share to make this really a meaningful opportunity for your staff, and then certainly a meaningful opportunity for the surgeon to keep their patients in-house. So, yeah, we
Well,
enjoy
that
that.
I mean, that's a great point. That's what I was most intrigued about was, how you were gonna, follow up and support these accounts that we brought on board. And what I've seen is that, your management structure, from a monthly, quarterly to annual basis, takes care of that for the account. All that hard stuff that comes after we build one of these and get started, you make very simple and turnkey. So that's something that you can kind of take off the table, as a surgeon. You don't have to worry about that. Tina's got that under control.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Our team does.
Of course.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. No, but no, it's just, we love what we do and it shows. And, when we build, develop, these centers and suites and things like that, the surgeons keep us. They like us. They like what we've brought to the table. And so that's where we've garnered all of this experience from. And our team together, we've presided over 160,000 ophthalmology cases and growing each day. We have over 200 years experience in outpatient surgery. So we are the eye people. Vizy Suites and this whole model really is just made us all really solidified in bringing this innovation, to the practice in a very easy to manage way. So we're excited. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. We finally
No,
made
it is
it to this
exciting.
point where we
No,
can launch.
it's a transition moment in ophthalmology. And I've been hearing that from others. That's not just me saying that. So I'm
Right,
excited to see what this looks like because, the amount of contacts we've had over the past year, the conversations we've had, the initial phase is just of discovery. They just want to see what this looks like. What's it going to cost? How does this fit into my practice?
right,
So then there's that period of time where they're, thinking this thing through and trying to figure out if it's best for them and how they're going to make it work. And then all of a sudden, 6 months to a year later, they're like, okay, I'm ready. It's kind of like buying a house, right? You just don't run out and buy a house.
right,
You look around for quite a while until you find the right house, and then you
right,
figure out how you're going to pay for it.
right,
So, that's the biggest thing that I've seen is I think the conversation is being had at all the meetings, and all the surgeons are talking about it, and they all want to do it. That's the funny point. They want to do it, but
yes.
they just need to figure out how to do it, and that's how we can help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to see everyone at ASCRS this year. We're at booth 1164. Please, stop by, visit our website. You can fill a contact us or just stop by the booth. We'll be there. And please ask us about Vizy Suites. We'll be happy to talk to you about it and dive into that process to see about bringing this to fruition in your practice.
Yeah,
Well,
we can't
Phil,
wait for the ASCRS. We're excited that it's here in our home, our backyard in Washington, D.C.,
yeah,
and I think it's going to be a great turnout. And the weather's always beautiful that time of year, so it should
yeah,
be a really nice weekend to be in the nation's capital for sure.
absolutely,
And
absolutely. And I wish it would have been a little sooner because I think we'll miss the cherry blossoms, but maybe they'll still have
yeah,
some
the
bloom
weather's just
still.
breaking right now, so we'll see. I don't know. They might be popping out just in time,
Yeah,
from what I can tell. But
I love
you
visiting
know,
down there for that.
one other thing I wanted to add too, speaking of popping out, is that I think what we've learned too in this last year is that the financial modeling of the practice is very important, and we've learned that we need to take into consideration the payer mix, the patient types, and the patient volumes, and they're all different depending on where you fall in that category. So, knowing how to pay for this and create revenue is very important. And I can't wait to kind of blow that open this year and talk to everybody about that because that's a huge part of what we
That's
do.
Yeah, that I think that's the key in our turnkey. So excited to share that with the surgeons for sure.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for joining me today on Operationally Speaking. And we hope to see you all at Ascaris. Again, visit us at 1164. Our booth will be there and excited to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tina. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.